Now we're live. Look, there was a delay.
Oh.
Hey, I'm going to start that over. Welcome, everybody, to
Hello.
Rise Up Breathwork. We are at the People's Congregation of Shakers and Movers. I am Sandy, the High Priestess here, and the Director of Spiritual Innovation. And what I mean by that is we are always looking for new and unusual or dynamic or usual, depending on the person, ways to raise the vibration for all mankind. So that can mean different things to different people, and it means different things to me on a daily basis too. I'm discovering every day new ways to raise the vibration. Couple of announcements this week. Sadly, Anna has COVID, so she will not be here tomorrow to do our midweek reset. However, we will have Megan Marini in the house, and she's going to come and hold space, and I think we're going to do a guided meditation and maybe a little bit of a slow flow yoga class. Anyway, and then tomorrow night we have Matt's midweek vibe check, which is our weekly evening dose of sound healing and breath work. For you folks out there that want to get into this, it's $10 for members and $20 for non-members, suggested donation. But if you cannot afford the donation, we are not going to say that you cannot stay, of course. So just come check it out. This Friday, Megan is going to be coming and doing a hypnosis for us for our Integrated Recovery Practices group. This will be a first for us, doing a group hypnosis session. So this should be pretty interesting to see what we can all manifest together as a group. On Saturday, very extra special event. My daughter is doing her first pop-up here for her new company, which is called Why I Love You. It's a statement about kind of Valentine's Day and why are we waiting one day a year to tell everybody how much we love them. We should be telling them why I love you every single day. So my daughter, little budding entrepreneur, if you're interested, she actually has a couple other vendors that she's bringing in from what I hear. So it's going to be a tween pop-up. So please do not miss that from 12 to 3. Cool. And concurrently, we will have DJ Ray spinning records at the altar. DJ Ray always brings such positive vibes, and he's here all the time on Soul Saturday supporting the other DJs as well, who we have elevated to the status of reverence, of course, here at the church. So we have 7 ordained ministers now also available for your next wedding or ceremony. So hit us up if you guys are looking to have the People's Congregation, set up a ceremony for you, because we're pretty good at throwing a party.
Yeah.
Right, Matt?
I would say so.
There's one thing we're good at.
I'm super excited that Megan's coming in, because I don't think we've ever had her on Friday night.
No, this is going to be Megan's first time. She's a brand new member. She's a new high priestess. And again, if there's anybody out there who thinks that they want to perform a wedding ceremony and they need to become ordained, of course, shout out to the Universal Life Church. We've all been using their amazing service for the bargain price of $30. You can become a reverend on the internet too. However, we are going to be bringing in a little bit more ceremony into it. Megan's going to help us come up with a high priestess ceremony. Okay. So if you are looking to become ordained and want to get involved in our church, you can go to pcsam.org, sign up for our newsletter, and see how you can become part of our motley crew.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think and if you guys don't know who she is out there and you come on Fridays or want to come experience on Friday, maybe you haven't come before, just come out and enjoy the beautiful experience. And she's amazing at what she does. So I'm excited for that. Yeah,
Megan is a trauma-informed healer. Yeah. So she has spent 20 plus years studying yoga and alternative somatic healing and shamanic healing. So she can take you places, sans drugs, that you probably didn't know your mind could go. So she's the first person to successfully hypnotize me. I didn't think I was hypnotizable. Turns out I am. But you don't know until you try, right?
Exactly.
So, I actually used hypnosis to help me get over my fear of public speaking. So
I can't imagine that.
That I had a fear of it at one point. I do have the gift of gab, but I think once you have a microphone in your hand and you're in front of a live audience, it can be a little nerve-wracking, or especially in a ceremony, because you kind of feel like you only get one shot, right? There's no do-over at a wedding. There's no do-over at a funeral. It's different when you're shooting a podcast. You can kind of edit, but anyway.
Well, I guess in life in general, too, it's that flow. So today I was just going to bring up a little bit of have you ever felt like you were really in a flow, with life, or even if something negative or triggering was trying to enter you, it just couldn't because you were so in the flow?
Yeah,
is that something that what's that like for you?
So for me, like this summer, I've finally had some time to reconnect with nature, my children. I closed one of my stores and merged it with the other one, so I had a lot less responsibility. And I would say I finally was back in my flow this summer after like 5 pretty intense years of putting business and family and other things before myself. So I had to kind of do a lot of internal work to get back into my flow. Okay. But I feel like I achieved that pretty good this summer. Yeah.
And how are you feeling now?
I feel like I've been carrying it through. Like this winter, I've had like the least amount of like seasonal depression I feel like that I've had in years. Again, because I've been consistently showing up, consistently moving my body, consistently, trying to stay in the flow. It's definitely work. It's definitely, you have to be aware of it. But yeah, I love being in the flow and going with the flow, and it's a much easier way to live.
It is, and I feel like it's like this place of like energetically, like where we're just really not allowing, like for me it's like not allowing for things to pull me out. Like if the flow is like in a river, right? And I'm just floating down the river, and then if something grabs my attention and pulls me out of me, and I become really focused on this thing over here, whatever that thing is. And then it's almost like I'm taking my foot out of the boat and putting it on the bank, and I'm creating like these pauses almost, like a small disruption in the flow. Or if it's strong enough, I might actually get out and stand on the river bank for a moment and completely stop the flow and then become disconnected. And so today I just wanted to explore, like, with people lightly, like what are things that take you, like that take your energy away from you, like it switches your energy maybe from something more pleasant, calming, peaceful, loving, compassionate, maybe to an energy of wanting this, or really seeking something out, and it can be anything, right? It could be a cigarette, it could be going gambling, it could be just even getting food, like we just didn't take care of ourselves well enough, and then we become disconnected because we really need to eat, and we have to, and there's like a process maybe that takes 20 minutes before we can eat, right? So there's like so many different scenarios. So what I'm going to invite in today is like a little bit of awareness of like what causes us to step out of the flow and to become slightly disconnected. And one of the things that I find too, like for myself, is feeling the rising within my system. So what's normal for me in most of my life is like something would rise up, whether it be like the addiction I had with drugs, or if it was a trigger that would make me have my rage come out. And it was almost like the trigger is here, and then the rage is here, and there was nothing in between. I went from the trigger to the rage, or I went with the addictive thought patterns of this drug use, and I would plan it out and go from here to here as quickly as possible with no pause or feeling, and I would become so disconnected. And so I forgot where I was going with this.
Just what breaks you out of your flow.
Yeah, and so I'm starting to, I live outside of self, and so I would have I know what it was. So I'd go from here to here really quick, and I wouldn't feel the rising. Nowadays, because of the work that I've just chosen to do on myself, I can actually feel that rising in me. And I can feel it like sometimes strong, sometimes lightly, but then I can kind of soften it now so it doesn't go in a direction that I really don't want to go. Because no one's ever, like, I'm always going to have something I'm reaching for.
Right.
It just changes, like, what that thing may be over time. So it's just going to be a light invitation into that.
Yeah, so this is like a lot what we talk about. Yeah, this is what we talk about, right? About like bringing these, like you don't necessarily have to set aside an hour to do breath work. You need to have the tools in your tool chest to use the breath work for 30 seconds or 60 seconds or 5 minutes when you're in that crisis or in that like needing to pause phase of an energetic exchange, right? Because that's what everything is, energy. So when you asked me earlier, like what snaps me out of my flow, it's usually the energy coming at me from society, other people, you know, whether it's like the shift, I can just feel everybody so deeply, and I can feel when like I've said something, or, you know, maybe that they needed to hear telling the truth about something that had to be said. And again, sometimes like you can't control how other people react to, you know, things that have to be said. So there's that. And then also my own negative, sometimes self-talk, you know, I don't know